Hey, what's up, guys? Good evening. Tone Fernandez here, coming to you from Chicago. And today, guys, we got a good topic. We're going to talk about the number one reason why most marketers fail. And it's something simple and easy, and it has a lot to do with your schedule. Before we get started, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And I came up with this topic just because over the last few weeks, I've been getting on one calls with a lot of people in the network marketing space, a lot of entrepreneurs, and the first question I ask them is, what's your schedule like? And what I noticed is that they don't incorporate a daily method of operation. And there was one part of my business where I fell for this. I didn't have a day by, and an hour by hour operations. I didn't have a list of things to do. And when I did decide to implement it, it wasn't stuffed with money making activities. It was just busy work. So today, guys, I'm going to cover a few different things on what you should be doing, day in, day out in the business, how to differentiate what's busy work versus what's money making activity. And if you have a busy schedule, where you work a 9 to 5 and you have your business, after hours, what are some things you could do? How much time you should be dedicating to your business? So let's start off. What's the first, the first thing that we see? We see a lot of entrepreneurs, network marketers, people in home-based business, and they don't understand the difference between busy work or passive work versus money making activity. So I'm going to differentiate the two. So what is passive work? Passive work is doing paperwork. Passive work is maybe putting up a Facebook post because you can't control if somebody responds or not. Passive is commenting on people's posts. Passive is, going online and scrolling through, seeing who you can find. Now, what is busy work in your business? Actual money making activity, not busy work. Money making activity consists of things that, gets an answer from a potential client or adding new people to your list. So, when it comes to making your daily method of operation, what that means is you're setting a allotted time. So let's say you're allotting 3 hours in your day to grow your business, right? You're saying, you know what, I'm going to start off with these 3 hours. So the first thing you have to do is say, no matter what, every day for 3 hours, I'm going to do these activities. So what you have to do is you then filter those hours and you break up segments. Half hour I'm doing this, half hour I'm doing that. So I'll give you an example. In my business, I say half hour of adding people online, half hour of sending messages and making offers, right? Half hour of following up with people who said yes, or maybe they sat down with me for a presentation, or maybe there was some type of dialogue in regards to them wanting to purchase, something from me. I'm following up with those people. I continually add friends. I'm making a half hour of phone calls to people that may be interested. And the difference between money making activity and non money making activity is those activities that I'm doing for those allotted 3 hours are giving me an answer if somebody is interested in doing business with me. So, for example, I may make half hour of calls to local businesses saying, hey, I'm in your area. I support businesses with XYZ. Are you open to learning more about that? And whether they say yes or no, I don't care because I'm have that allotted time. Now the problem with most people is we do passive stuff all day. We'll post something online and then we'll post something else online and we think that that's actually money making activity. And I'm for posting stuff online, but that's very passive. That's something that you should just do, on your free time outside of your allotted time to make money. So what I'm noticing is there's so many people who are, number one, they don't have a daily method of operation. They're just going about their day. Whenever they feel like it, they jump on their phone. And then at the end of the day, they start getting frustrated and they start asking themselves, man, why am I not making money? Man, why am I, in the same position over and over again? Well, the first thing I tell them is you have to clearly define what actually brings you results in your business. And the number one thing that brings results in your business, and if you narrow it down, is when you reach out to people and you make offers. Reaching out to people and making offers. Now, the second thing I tell people is where do you find these people and how do you communicate with them? So what you have to do is you have to take a notebook and you have to, first things first, is know who you're targeting. right? So you write down on your notebook, say, this is who I'm targeting. And then the second thing you do is you list all the places where you can potentially find those people. Is it Facebook groups? Is it maybe there's a person in your industry who's widely known who has a following, but his following is very much what the type of people that you would like to have as your following or you would like to have as clients. Write down that person's name, right? Start finding out the origin of where these people are at so you can go in there and you can start adding those people to your list, adding those people to your friends list. You have to realize that on social media, there's a funnel. There's meeting strangers, right? Building rapport, adding them to your friends list, and then from the friends list, it goes down in the DM, as they say in that song. You go to the DM, the direct message, and that's where those people are converted from strangers on groups, strangers from other people's pages, strangers from wherever, to friends list friends, to, you go into the DM, and in that DM you have to have a process. You have to have a process of building rapport, making transition statements so that you can figure out, okay, what is this person's pain and how can I solve it? And then asking enough questions to dig deep into that pain to make the offer. So if you stick to that format and you constantly add friends, what you have is you have a consistent flow, right? These are the places where you're adding your friends and your followers, right? Then you have the people that you're adding as your friends. Then you have the people that you're talking to on your, social media, on your DM. And then those out of those people spit out people that are watching your presentation, people that you're on Zoom conferences with, and those are what you call your appointments. Once you start monitoring those daily money making activities, it starts to increase over time. Now, the only thing that I recommend to reinforce that is, as you know, they say fortune isn't a follow up, and that's so true. So one of the things you got to do, and I'm actually doing this now, is if you look at my screen, this is a spreadsheet of all the people that I came in contact with and had a conversation with over the last few weeks regarding business. So what I've been doing is I said, you know what? I have all this activity. I have all these appointments. Now I have to translate that into actual results. So if you see here, I have follow-up dates. I have points and times when I spoke to people, what was said, and then I schedule the next follow-up. From that point on, I start labeling people. Somebody would say, hey, I'm not interested. Great, I label you red. Doesn't mean I'm going to delete you because I'm still going to build rapport with you in the future and build a relationship. And those who have converted to a client, a business partner, or something, I label green. But the origin of all that starts in your daily method of operation. A lot of people try to get lucky in business and they make a post and they think that, this post is going to go viral. I'm going to get so many clients. And I almost was that guy. So I'm not speaking to you from a level of, I think I'm better. I'm speaking you to a level of I've been in your situation where I thought posting all day on social media was it. Guys, it's your minute to minute activities that you're doing that you have scheduled out. And the great thing about when you do that, a few things will happen naturally. Number one, your posture goes up. It's like dating. If you're stuck on one person and you only have one option, you're desperate. But hey, if you have multiple options of people that you can potentially date, you have a little confidence because you know that there are people who want you. So when you're out there doing the money making activities, it builds your pipeline so much that you're not worried about one person's no, or one person saying their rejection. You're like, all right, right, next, which is more attractive. The other thing that happens is you start to remove your emotions from the equation, right? Because a lot of times network marketers or people, you just entrepreneurs in general, you get very emotional, right? One minute you're on a super high, the next minute you're on a super low because somebody said yes and then the next person said no, so you're down. But when you stick to a daily method of operation, you become so mechanical about it that you go through the work. And once you complete the work, you realize this is all math. It's not an art, it's science and math. And what I mean by that is if you put in the number, you start to have predictability in business. You start to realize things like this. Man, for every 20 times I had a Zoom conference call or presentation, I've closed 3 to 4. That means to me that, for every 20 presentations, I know I'm gonna get a predictable amount of clients. So if I want 8 clients, maybe I should do 40 presentations this week. If I want more, maybe I should do 120 presentations. So what ends up happening is emotions you start to get rid of them, right? You don't care, and you start to stick to that regimen, that daily method of operation, and you start to weed out what's not working and what's not priority. And what ends up happening is that one list, it becomes your religion. That money making activity list is like religion. You do it no matter what. It's like your daily prayer. I'm going to do this no matter what every day, for the rest of my life, for the rest of my career, because I know this is what produces results. And then once you're done with that list, now you can focus on making that post. I'm not against post, but I think that too many people heavily rely on the post, and then they say that they're working, and then they get frustrated. But then if you analyze your schedule, and you sit with a multimillionaire, they're going to tell you you're not making calls. Okay, you're not adding new people. You don't have a list. Man, you're not running a business, you're winging a business. And I had to have that realization. And I had it recently, guys. This was several months ago when I said, "What are you doing? Like, what is your schedule doing?" And how I came to that realization is, take a look at when you were at your all-time high in your business or in the results of your current business. What were you doing, right? And if you take a look at the worst part of your business, when you struggled, what were you doing? And if you look at it, there's a major difference in your schedule. There's a major difference in what you were doing. So take those activities when you were winning and incorporate that in your everyday, day in and day out. What ends up happening is when you start to do that, it becomes the norm, and you never fall below that norm. You just keep on increasing. I was reading a book recently by Nick Murray, The Game of Numbers, and it's a book about prospecting. And it's just so coincidentally how personal development works. Is I was just, talking to mentors who kind of slapped me around, and they told me, "Hey, it's in your daily method of operation. You need to, do money making activities." But then I'm reading this book at the same time, and the book is basically saying, if you stick to this, it doesn't matter what you're saying, doesn't matter how you're saying it. The important part is, sticking to that daily regimen of how many reach outs you're going to do, how many people are you going to make offers to. And that's where it hit me in the face. Between talking to my mentors and reading that book, it woke me up. And to share some testimonials with you guys, I went from having a very dry pipeline to my schedule every week is 5 to 10 appointments now. 5 to 10 appointments. So right now I have people who are brand new business partners in business that just came on board. I have brand new clients that I just, onboarded. And I have a lot of people who are on a follow-up who are red hot. They want to get involved. They have, talk to the wife. They have to do this. They have to do that. But it feels so good to go from having a dry pipeline to consistent appointments, and the next phase I'm at is transitioning into scaling that up. But the reason I wanted to share this with you guys is, if you're struggling, take a look at your schedule. Take a look at what hour by hour, minute by minute activity that you're doing, and having a lot of time. If you work a full-time job, I hear a lot of people say, "I have a full-time job and it's just, I can't do it. I need to get rid of this job." And I'm going to tell you what I once heard from one of the greatest, network marketers out there. It said, if you cannot manage the time you have now, then what makes you think you're going to be able to manage the time when you're full-time in the business? So full-time people, there's a few things that you got to do. You have to do a time audit. You have to see, what things can you remove from your schedule that are sucking your time, sucking your time and your energy and your ability to create income, and how you can replace that with money making activities. If you can stick to 2 to 3 hours of consistently doing some activity, maybe waking up an hour early, going to bed an hour later, maybe working an hour during your lunchtime, then what happens is you're going to start to build that pipeline that's going to give you the ability to transition to full-time in your business. But if you can't master your schedule now, you're just in for a disaster, because once you transition, you're just not going to know what to do. You're not going to be disciplined enough to go full time. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because I've been through the guys. It's been 5-6 years of, I've seen the highest of highs and I've seen the lowest of lows, where you can imagine, in being in business, relying 100% on my income from business, where I was. And I've came out of that. And the reason I want to teach this to you guys is so that you can cut that learning curve, learn from my mistakes, and you can wake up and say, okay, these are the things that I need to do. So my challenge to you, leaving this video, is go make that list of activity, and then cross-reference that list with a schedule of time that you can dedicate to your business, and be honest with yourself. Hey guys, if you can't dedicate 8 hours because you have a full-time job, 2 kids. Dedicate 2 hours. Just be really diligent with those 2 hours. And then look at your schedule. Print out your schedule from your actual job and say, okay, that hour there that I'm not at work, that hour is dedicated to business. That hour there, that's dedicated to business. And stick to it like religion. And what happens is, over the course of time, the pipeline's going to build, momentum's going to go up, energy's going to go up, your attitude's going to go up, and all of a sudden, you're going to be in kicking it in action, and everything's going to start working for you. So, you got to be honest with yourself. If you can't dedicate 10 hours a day because you have a full schedule, what can you dedicate? But stick to it, right? In the book, Nick Murray, the one I was telling you about, The Game of Numbers, he says, stick to it for 2 weeks and then go up incrementally 10%. Because what he says, and it's so true. Some of us, we think about it like if you are, you used to be a marathon runner, but then you fell off for several years and now you want to get back into it. You wouldn't just go back into running 26 miles the next day. You would kind of gradually work back into that. So it's the same with your business. You gotta understand. Okay, I'm gonna start off with this allotted amount of time, 2 hours a day, but then I'm gonna incrementally go up. In 2 weeks from now, I'm going to go up another 10% more. Just 10%. 2 hours. Now I'm going to do 2 hours, 20 minutes. Then the next day, so you know what? 2 weeks after that, I'm going to go up to 3 hours. I'm going to do 3 hours and incrementally go, keep increasing that until you can transition out of your job, until you can transition out of what you want to do. But that D.M.O, that daily method of operation, guys, it's huge. And my momentum that I'm building now is all just, I give credit all to the D.M.O. Sitting down and weeding in and weeding out the activity that I should be doing, and it allowed me to fill my pipeline. It allowed me to have appointments, and it allowed me to start building my business up where I want it to be. So, I hope that was helpful. If it was, guys, if you like videos like this, feel free to hit the like button, comment below, and share. I appreciate you guys. As always, your success is important. If you like tips like this and you want some free giveaways, go ahead and drop a comment below, and I'll send you one of my free trainings on 10 strategies you can use to start getting people interested in your product, your service, or your opportunity on social media, guys. As always, your success is important to me.